Man, Dr. Charles Chuck Bishop from inside the HB Sports Lab, special segment on UNK and CHICO Live, giving us an update on the HBCU space. Just had the Celebration Bowl this weekend. The Jackson State won. Also got a lot of vacancies, a lot of hot seats out there. Got too hot. A lot of vacancies in the HBCU coaching space. Professor Charles Bishop, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, brothers? Good to see you all again. Man, epic weekend in Atlanta this past weekend for all of the Jackson State faithful. So,
No, that means you got drunk.
guilty as charged.
Yeah, I know. I heard that you got drunk. Hey, dog. Speaking of drunk, Chico. Speaking of drunk, I gotta text you the video. Chuck, I'm gonna text you the video too. It was a joke at the Jackson Airport. So drunk, they had to come get him off the plane, man. Like, he smelled like straight moonshine. Now I say that he was a peaceful drunk. He wasn't bothering nobody, but that could change at 30,000 feet. So they couldn't let. They were like, "Dog, come on with us." He like, "What'd I do?" Couldn't even stand up. Like, what you mean? What you did? Like, you're drunk.
You're drunk. Exactly.
So talk to us about this Celebration Bowl, man. Yeah. What it meant for Tiger Nation and for Coach T.C. Taylor and the SWAC finally getting another win. Run us through it.
Yeah, I mean that's 2 years in a row now that the SWAC has knocked out the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl. You talking about FAMU in 2023, Jackson State in 2024. Tremendous win for Jackson State, 28-7 in this Celebration Bowl. And Neely, when I say it was a dominant performance, it was a dominant performance. Jackson State had to win this game in the trenches. And not only did they win the game in the trenches, they physically whooped South Carolina State in the trenches in this game. It was truly a dominant performance. They set the tone in this game with, get this, Neely, a 19-play, 9-minute drive capped off by a short touchdown. But, I mean, it set the tone. And, I mean, it's not a whole lot of places you could go with this game. It was that dominant. You're talking about two teams that were the consensus 1 and 2, and a lot of polls coming into this game. The storylines were there, but Jackson State got it done.
Chico?
No, I was just going to bring up some of these videos right here from Coach TC and the team out there celebrating once again. How big was it for them to, after losing the 2 Celebration Bowls, to finally get this win this past weekend?
Really emotional. You saw a lot of fans literally in tears at the end of the game. Of course, they were chanting TC's name. And you know, Neely, this Jackson, Mississippi, it's a city that really, really loves this Jackson State football team. They really rallying behind it. And this team, the way they kind of refashioned this roster, it's a team that I say in a lot of ways, and you know this very well, Neely, when we talk about HBCU football, sometimes we look at the SWAC as the finesse league and the MEAC as the physical league. But that paradigm has slowly shifted with regards to this Jackson State team. They are a tremendously physical team. They whooped teams all season in the trenches, and this game, it was no different when you take a look at what they were able to do.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts on this, and it might not even end with a question mark. TC Taylor elected to be the offensive coordinator as well. And early on in that game, even with having a young brother who broke Walter Payton's single record, the running game really couldn't go in. It looked like what you were talking about was going to be the case, that the trenches, the defensive line of South Carolina, I think at one point we only had like 3, 6, or 9 yards rushing. TC Taylor, head coach / offense coordinator, then adjust the game plan, so to speak. And man, that 9-minute drive you're talking about, it seemed even longer because it was part of the first quarter and part of the second quarter. And so in real time, you're talking like 30 minutes, Jackson State had the ball. And to me, that just kind of ended the game. But I was surprised to see a 4th down conversion attempted when it seemed like, hey, you don't even have to risk that because South Carolina couldn't move the ball.
Yeah, and from, I guess, a strategic standpoint, you just felt like, you could do whatever you wanted to do. And I think a telling stat in this game, I think Jackson State was like 9 of 16 on 3rd down conversions. But that drive really encapsulated what that day was for Jackson State in terms of wearing down South Carolina State. It had been 23 days since South Carolina State had last played a football game. And one of the storylines going into this game was, just the amount of rest that the MEAC team had versus Jackson State, who played in the SWAC championship just last week. But those concerns were put to bed. Jackson State was the sharper team, the fresher team. And during the course of that game, you really saw how they really wore down South Carolina State. A lot of guys went out with injuries. A lot of guys went out cramping, things of that nature. But, yeah. I mean, you go back to that drive, short passes, keeping the chains moving. And as we've seen all season with this Jackson State team, because of the threat of Irv Mulligan in the running game, safeties have to creep up into the box. And sure enough, you get that matchup that you want. You got some burners on the outside for Jackson State. If they get a matchup with a safety, advantage Jackson State.
Man, the brother that's the 6'5" receiver, that back pylon, that 50-50 ball to him is unstoppable.
Yeah, Jonas Fertillion. He's 6'5", 220, and can jump out the gym, one up, and made a tremendous play, keeping his body contorted, feet in. I mean, it was a tremendous catch. And he's done things like that all season. And, from talking to TC, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. At some point, he's going to give those guys an opportunity to go up and go make a play. And sure enough, we saw it in the Celebration Bowl.
You see the South Carolina native Irv Mulligan, as you said, making some big plays. You got a 6'5" receiver, as you just mentioned. Who are some other guys notable players on the team who should get some shout outs from this past season who did a great job?
Undoubtedly, Jackson State's defensive line, I think, was just tremendous all season. Jeremiah Williams, True Thompson in the middle. Those guys really anchored things down with regards to Jackson State's defense. You got guys like Phillip Webb, defensive end, on the outside. Josh Nobles also were guys who could create pressures. I think Jackson State was either first or second in the SWAC in terms of sacks. But though the defensive line did a tremendous job in terms of getting pressure, I think they limited South Carolina State in this game to maybe 1.3 yards per rushing. I think 30 yards altogether. But, you're talking about a team that really dominated South Carolina State. I think 178 yards on the day, and 64 yards of it came on one pass play. So it was truly a dominant performance. And this was a South Carolina State team that was a very explosive South Carolina State team, a team that was averaging upwards of 35 points per game. Very, very good. Probably one of the better quarterbacks in HBCU athletics in Eric Phoenix. And Jackson State's defense went out and shut him down. Can't say enough about what Jackson State was able to get done.
I tell you who I can't say enough about. You know what? I don't want y'all to get Chuck already about to laugh because he knows some shit coming, and he's exactly right. I don't want y'all to get caught up in this, Chico. You can just put me on the screen for a second. I don't want I don't want no bullets to hit y'all. Let me tell you, I can't say enough about. South Carolina State had 21 days off, and for them to be cramping that much, the strength and conditioning staff South Carolina must have came from Timu, because hey, how you ain't ready in 21 days? I don't know. I try to tell y'all, get off the screen. Let me take that bullet. Let me shoot that shot. But y'all,
I knew it was coming.
Dog, they were like they were. It looked like week 2 or 3 in August. It looked like fall camp. And again, now that's not to take anything away from Jackson State forcing that to happen. By moving the ball, running down. But they were not ready based on all those cramps for that game. Compared to other MEAC teams, the word on the street had been Chuck over the years why the SWAC couldn't compete is that the MEAC was well rested. This time it looked like the rest worked against them.
Yeah, it really did. It really did, and it was really surprising because it seemed as though every time you kind of looked up, they had a player going down with cramps, or you had an injury here and there. You saw one player pull up, had a hamstring issue, but it really was. It was really surprising to see them. Not to have made the adjustment, I guess, during that time off. But now you take a look at it, Neely, and you start talking about the pendulum starting to swing back to the SWAC. This now, I believe, 4 in a row when you count the MEAC SWAC Challenge that starts the season off. Jackson State knocked off South Carolina State in 2023. Then you had Florida A, and then Florida A&M wins the Celebration Bowl in 2023. This season, Florida A&M starts the MEAC SWAC Challenge off in August. They knock off Norfolk State, and Jackson State bookends it with the win in the Celebration Bowl. So that's 4 in a row now. And I think, kind of you start talking about the pendulum starting to flip back to the SWAC because they've truly been the more physical team in all of these games.
Nice. Well, before we let you go, tell us, what is Coach TC's plan moving forward to continue this success? And I was going to say, as far as the recruiting go, not to cut you off, as far as recruiting go, and just to reboot and continue to bring in good talent like this,
including re-recruiting this current team.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the big thing, especially at the FCS level, is you really have to do a tremendous job in re-recruiting your own team. So making sure that you're able to kind of keep that nucleus together, because I think the unspoken thing about this Jackson State team is they had a lot of guys who went out with injuries during the course of this year. I believe at least 4 of their receivers were out during the course of this season with injuries, season-ending injuries. Same thing with the running back core. They were missing at least 3 or 4 running backs. So you're talking about a team that is definitely on the upswing, and with the way that TC Taylor and, of course, Coach Otis really, the way they beat the bushes to find talent, and I'm starting to hear murmurs now that this upcoming class with Jackson State could be one of the top 5, not just in HBCU football, but in FCS.
Dog, hold on, dog. Miss Dawn Duncan said them wasn't cramps. Them was get me the hell out this game itis. See, I didn't mean to start nothing, man. I didn't mean to start nothing.
Hey, Neely, you're the master of pulling the grenade and walking out the room, bro.
I didn't mean to start nothing. I just said
I'm gonna have to use that one, Professor. I'm gonna have to use that. He pulled a grenade and walk out the damn room.
He been saying that about me for years, Chico. He said I pull a pin, throw it in the room, and just go get in the car. Like it act like he ain't did nothing. I got to get your thoughts on this, Chuck. I got to get your thoughts on this because I think we still got our entertainment report coming up.
Yes, Miss Orly.
Asked you about it before. You went politically correct on me, Chuck. You said it was only about one person on the hot seat. 2 weeks later, 6 vacancies out there in HBCU space. I think one has been hired now. When you look at these firings and lack of hirings, is this threat or opportunity? What's going on in the head coach space?
I think it's the college football environment as it is right now. And I have my own little theory. You got 10 games before a fan base kind of, makes their impression of who you are. And we've seen that now with regards to teams just moving on from just thinking that they're going in the wrong direction. So we've had openings at Prairie View, Alabama A&M, Norfolk State. We have North Carolina A&T, I believe, just hired a new coach. But it's just the state of college athletics as it is, that you have X amount of time, and we've seen coaches really turn things around fast. Call it the prime effect. I mean, it is what it is. He had success early. Chennis Berry at South Carolina State. Year one, he had success. So, when fan bases, boosters, if you will, start thinking things aren't going in the right direction, they start to light a fire.
That's the politically correct way of saying black fans ain't patient. We appreciate you, Chuck Bishop. Y'all can tune in to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays live on YouTube. You can catch Professor Charles Bishop on Sunday nights doing it for the culture with Uncle Chico, and coming in 2025 for the culture with Charles Bishop will also be a standalone segment weekly on the Pregame Network. We appreciate you, bro, Bishop.
Looking forward to it, brothers. Enjoy it.
Yes, sir.
It's another one. It's another one, baby. It's another one.
Hey, they say if we only together on Sunday Night Live, we here right now, baby. In the flesh.
With Onk and Big Dog.
So get ready for it.
Onk and Big Dog.
Chico.